Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh back. It's Monday. We've only got 3 games on the slate today, so we're going to be taking a look at some best bets. Got a few extra player props in this one for you guys as well. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Coming back each and every weekday for you with everything we've got, player props, bets on the sides and totals as well. But let's get into the first one we're looking at here, Nate. You've got the Jazz and the Rockets up here, and you do like the Jazz to be able to cover in this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number. We could go with our method of taking the Jazz just in the first half. I believe it's plus 9.5 if you worry about their fourth quarter shenanigans and what they might do down the stretch. But with Houston, I'm happy to just fade the bad vibes here in the locker room with all the Kevin Durant stuff and the fact that their offense is just ass. And we talked about this for weeks now. They have not been able to pull away from anybody. Doesn't really matter the quality of opponent, but they're 1-9 at ATS. Their last 10 as favorites. They have not won by double digits, but twice since the New Year started. And that was the shorthanded Nets on New Year's Day. Remember, they sat everybody and they were just hungover. And the Hawks with 3 starters missing, and they held the Hawks to 86. The Jazz now, Keontae George might play. Big deal. We think Markkanen's going to play. He's probable. Can't take anything for granted with the Jazz, but he's probably playing, and they're 14-2 against this number the last 16 with Lauri Markkanen. They're a competitive NBA team for sure. The Rockets, they don't pull away from anybody because they're the second slowest pace in their last 12, 5th worst offense since the last 6, maybe since the KD news at least went through the locker room here. They have the second worst assist to turnover ratio, so not communicating on offense, and second worst corner 3-point defense, so not communicating much on defense. And in general, 8-17 ATS at home. They're on a rest disadvantage here. Jazz have only played once post All-Star break, and the Jazz 10-4 ATS when they get at least 2 days rest this year. Partially because they have to play their guys, right? There's no excuse to be oh, he can't play. It's short rest.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're playing a good team, so it's kind of now is a good time to at least bet on them in the first half. So you're gonna get Lauri maybe even with a few more minutes for the whole game. Maybe the floor is 23, the ceiling is 29, just because they can tank appropriately here and do it the right way against the Rockets. But they'll be in the game when they have their good players in, and we'll see about Keontae George too, because I think if he's officially ruled out, then this gets bumped up even more. But I'll just start with Markkanen on the boards. This is actually dropping. I know there's the fear of him not playing, but that's kind of the angle for Markkanen is the last thing I was talking about in response to what you were saying, which is just, he's going to play. He's going to play a few more minutes than we might think. And I think even if he plays 24, 25, based on his rebs, he's still looking at about 10 rebound chances in that amount of time, which is good for 5, maybe 6. He's averaging 6 in games where he's playing a range of 23 to 29 minutes, I'm talking about. He's still averaging enough rebounds chances up at about 10, which is for him enough to get 5.5 to 6 per game. So this number is just one too low. You can bump it down one because it's a tough matchup for the Rockets as well. One of the best, if not the best rebounding team in the league. At least when they had Steven Adams, they were definitely the best rebounding team in the league. But they play slowly. They don't make a ton of shots. That's the other thing. So they're not making a ton of shots. And they are also, you've got the matchup specifically for Markkanen where he's playing against Jabari. I kind of like that for him to get boards a bit more. I've talked about that with Jabari, who is a completely off-ball player, and they play a lot of ISO with him where he's on one side of the floor, KD's on the other side of the floor, and depending on what the play call is, it's very likely to end up in his hands for either a catch and shoot or a drive. My point is, though, he doesn't have the high usage that KD does. He's still playing off-ball. He's putting Markkanen in a good spot to get boards, whether he's shooting from the corner or whether he's shooting from the wing. That's where he's going to be operating. And that puts Markkanen in that rebounding range in that zone where the next best rebounder on the team is Filipowski. There's no Nurk out there. I guess you'll get some Kevin Love minutes. It's hard to decipher, to pick through this thing, but it's going to be a lot of him. And 24 minutes is enough for me to get 5 boards.
Yeah, it's extremely low number for a guy who's nearly 7 feet, solid rebounder. It's just based on, fading the minutes. But like I said, the Rockets offense is terrible. So there should be rebounding opportunities available as they miss shots. These defenses are terrible. And we're at 233 for a total here, Sacramento and Memphis. I would lean towards the Memphis team total. I know you like the Kings to cover here. And I was actually on the Grizz, but then I kind of dove into their, deciphering their tea leaves. And the fact that they brought this kid Lovering up, he beat the Jazz. They actually had a legitimate center. They were able to beat the Jazz because he was in there, and then they just let him go on the 10-day contract. It's very much tipping the hand of we're not going to play any defense. And that's how we're going to make sure we keep losing games. But it's going to be entertaining at the same time. It's the Ty Jerome show, right? They're 6-1 to the over with Jerome active. They're averaging 120 a game. The only under they still got hooked at 238 with Denver. And this Kings offense, which has been in the tank for sure since they shut down Sabonis, their defense has been even worse. But I think part of that defense being in the tank is just like the situation. Like they played the Jazz with Jaren Jackson Jr. in that rare game, a couple limping into the All-Star break. I think now with these, Monk coming off the bench and Keegan Murray back, they should be able to sustain some offense here. And the fact that Memphis is playing a small forward at center is just really the key here. These teams are like 28th and 30th in every interior defensive metric. You can go right to the rim. The Kings are scoring actually the highest percentage of their points on twos and in the paint because they can't shoot threes whatsoever. Defensively, though, they're the worst three-point shooting, the worst defense against the three. And they're also just hemorrhaging points on fast break points and turnover points. And that'll be life to Memphis, which is playing all these, energetic guards. They're going to get out on the break and just be able to score easily. And then on the other end, they don't play a guy like over 6'7". So it's pretty easy to get in there.
Yeah, I do think that this game is going to have some points in it. I also think, like you were saying, that this is just a spot. And it's not even a spot. Here's where I'm at with the Kings covering, the spread here and likely winning the game, in my opinion, is I don't think they're tanking the right way. Let's put it that way. They're playing the backups. They're just not even they're just listing everybody out who's a veteran or somebody who could potentially win games like Domas and Levine, etc. They're not playing Russ anymore. They played him 17 minutes. They played him 21 minutes in these last two that he was back. Like they're doing this the way that you normally do it. They're just throwing guys that aren't that good out there. Memphis is like, they're not playing Cam Spencer at all, regardless of who's playing. And this is a dude who's just a walking a dime, who has been a really good connector for them. That type of stuff and everything you're saying here shows me, yeah, maybe they're not interested in defense in Memphis. They're not interested in winning. They're doing a really, really good job of making sure they don't do that. They're four back of the Jazz in the tankathon, so they're 4 games ahead of the Jazz, and there's 27 to go, 25 to go, something like that for these two teams, between the Grizz and the Jazz, and it's important for them to lose, and I think they can do it, so they're gonna keep trying, and that's really all it's based on. I mean, the Kings have been at least they were mildly impressive against the Spurs, with staying within 10 points of that game for the majority of it, and I think we'll see a lot more of that type of success for them tonight.
Yeah, I can't get there. I understand, but yeah, this team's lost 12 straight games or something, just like completely throwing it away. There is a little bit of revenge here. I mean, if the veterans care about the fact that they lost to Memphis a couple of weeks ago, but let's get to the game that's going to be competitive. And clearly we're just approaching this with props and not trying to take Spurs or Pistons, though I would probably lean Spurs. I would lean Wemby just kind of taking this thing over. Big spot here. He hasn't had an opportunity to play in a big spot, obviously, since the All-Star break, because they've just absolutely crushed two bad teams. Sorry, Phoenix. But he's been pissed, right? Since the All-Star break, we thought Mitch Johnson maybe threw that game on purpose and let Chet's team win. And he's just sitting there laughing because now Wemby's going to be on fire the rest of the season, right? He's going to be absolutely motivated to put the league in a box. And so now he finally probably gets an opportunity to play 33 plus minutes, which is what he played actually on a back-to-back before the break at Golden State, right? That's the high watermark in terms of where his minutes limit is at. He might be good to go, big time here, big spot, big road game. He's actually has 35 plus PR in 5 of his last 6 on the road and 40 in 4 of those. He went for 36 in just 28 minutes against OKC. And Detroit, a lot of similarities, right? I mean, sagging defense, they will be happy with Wemby shooting threes, taking, catch and shoot opportunities. They're also just so good limiting all your actions and all your assists that they're going to make you take tough shots in ISO. Just be everything's bogged down. So Wemby's just going to have to make a play. And I mean, he did go for 16, 12, and 10 in just 21 minutes, his only matchup against Jalen Duren last year. And we have no beef stew here. So it's just going to be him versus Duren, and he's not going to want to mix it up down there, but he's going to be able to shoot over him. He excels against a lot of these teams that have a high free throw rate, and I think that's the key here. Detroit, highest free throw rate allowed in the league, allowing an above average 22 and 16 to centers in their last 7, and part of that is Beef Stew being out, and he's just out at least one more game here with a suspension.
Yes, he is. And so, yeah, I think there's going to be some success for Wemby in this one. I do like him. I like that you get the boards bumped down a bit from what it often is at like 11.5. But yeah, I think it's just a good battle, and he's just as likely to be able to win it as Duren, and I guess some B-ball Paul if it comes to that. But I just think this is too high for Cade. This number, if you just play it from like a market angle standpoint, it's been 26.5 consistently. And that was without Duren, without Beef Stew. So I'm just a little bit baffled by it. I guess you think it's big game Cade in a way. And so you're like, oh, he's really going to go for it. He got to play against the Bulls the other day and got 13 dimes, only had 18 points because he didn't need to shoot that much. But he's been taking an absurd amount of shots to get his numbers, and he still hasn't really been getting. That was at least in a couple games. Really, overall, his usage, if you look at it over the course of the last like 7-10 games, even, there's really no projections or there's no usage, there's no volume, there's no field goal attempt metrics that come out that say he should really be averaging more than about 24.5. And this number's at 24.5 for a reason. Then you throw in the matchup. I mean, this is a top 10 defense here, and this is a team that's full of guys to throw at Cade. What's Cade's advantage over most guys he's going up against? He's way bigger with the handle, the ability to shoot over guys. Obviously has the slitheriness, but once he's up and going downhill, there's very few guards that are going to be able to hang with this guard. You've got just a slew of that existing on the Spurs. And I imagine it starts with Stephon Castle, but even Devin Vassell is an oversized 2-guard and has been long and rangy. Obviously, you've got some Harrison Barnes, Champagnie. Everybody that's going to be playing for them on the wings is going to be of that size and ability to be able to hang with Cade. And then obviously you throw Wemby in the mix. And I just think the points are the thing more than anything that you're like, yeah, maybe he'll get into the lane against certain guys. Like even that step back mid-range for him is like, okay, do that over Wemby, because that's what he's going to be doing, is standing there waiting for that. That might leave some lobs open. It might mean some misses come up. Then Wemby went to block shots. Now Duren's getting some boards, and you can like his stuff. But the points for Cade at 27.5 is like 2 points, 3 points listed too high for me.
Yeah, it makes sense, because Cade, I mean, first and foremost, he wants to set up his guys. Like you said, yeah, if he gets to that mid-range and it's not open, he's more than happy to kick it or lob it. And the Spurs, I think they're going to be ultra aggressive, chasing over the top of these screens because they know they have the ultimate anchor behind them. So, I mean, Cade, yeah, that's there are some weaknesses to poke at in his game when he comes off the screen in terms of like the jumper is not quite polished enough. And I think the Spurs will be able to press some of those advantages. So yep. Memphis, yeah, with the points here, I mean, Gigi Jackson's at 14.5 or 15.5 points, but I think 2 threes is a solid, safe play here. This actually started at even money or plus money at DK. I mean, he's coming off the 36% usage game off the bench against Miami. Played 27 plus minutes in pretty much every game since the full-on tank started. And safe to say he's about that now. I mean, that's probably the team high for Memphis in terms of how much you're going to play. And like you said, they're not emphasizing defense, and that means GG can play as much as he wants, because like he was banished early in the season for missing defensive rotations. Now it's fine, especially when you go up against Sac. Like he's not going to have many issues guarding this team. But the three should be there with all these point guards out, right? I mean, you got Pippen Jr. playing, you got Jerome and Cam Spencer, who's just going to push the pace with this second unit. I like the idea of him playing with Cam Spencer and that second unit. Oh, and you got Walter Clayton. But I mean, these guys, because the Kings turn it over and let you go the other way fast, there's just going to be these opportunities. The Kings are dead last in 3-point defense in their last 6, and allowing plenty of wide open threes too. Team shooting 46% on open threes. And you remove like the Golden State rock fight, like the only competitive defensive game Memphis has gotten into lately. And the last 5, GG's hitting 2.2 threes at nearly 5 attempts. He took 5 attempts against Miami, went 1 for 5. So I think why not go right back to it and say, look, he's gonna get at least 2 down if he gets those 4 to 6 attempts.
And that's what it comes down to, is the attempts. I think his number's pretty good. Like the thing with Memphis is they're all playing 25 minutes max, and so you have to like feel good about the usage in that amount of time. Gigi's a chucker. This is a guy you definitely want to. I mean, he and Ty Jerome just have these like massive usage rates when they're playing here with this rotation of guys. And so yeah, still no Seti Coward, etc. Like Gigi at 25 minutes, probably a 15 shot projection here for him based on what he's been doing in these games over the course of the last 2 or 3. So This is the man, though. I love him on the threes. You can actually get this at a better number now in some places, like minus 115 or so for Keegan. Threegan Murray, as he was trying to be dubbed, didn't quite get there. But look, like 16 and a half points is good. I just think the threes are really, really low as well, because he is a guy taking 7 to 8 when he's in normal minutes, when he's in like normal rotation, normal spot on the floor. Yeah, 7 to 8. I'll take him to make 2 of 7, 2 of 8 consistently here for this kind of juice. Like I could take this up to like minus 140 and feel pretty good about it against the worst. Well, I'm sorry, the Jazz still play basketball. Bottom 3-point defense in the league in Memphis. The Jazz, wow, do they give up a ton of threes? It is mind-boggling, but both in the corners and above the break. And that's the same thing for Memphis. Doesn't matter where you are on the floor. Keegan is above the break more than anywhere else. And I think the points, like I said, are still a good bet, because he will be getting to the bucket against a team that you adequately said has a small forward playing center. It only has small forwards available, essentially, unless you want to call Gigi an undersized power forward, right? Like that's it. So I still think Keegan, if he wants to go down low with the boards, he's very good at rebounding. I think he will probably board more in this game. It was a little bit, obviously, against the Spurs. He only even had 6 chances against the Spurs, who were red hot for a lot of that game, even though they didn't play much defense. And he only had the 2 boards there, but had a pretty nice game boarding up in the one before. I believe it was Orlando. Like this matchup for rebounds, threes, points, it's all good for me with Keegan, however you want to play it tonight.
Yeah, he should be ramping back up. I mean, at least as you know, they wind down in the season, they should have no problem giving him a longer look, part of the future with all these vets around him. Yeah, let him get some shots up, show what he can do as the Kings move into the next year.
That's the angle, which I probably didn't harp on enough, which is just like, yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies are terrible, but this dude's getting 35, because if he's playing for his future, whether he's playing for the Kings or he's an asset that the Kings move, then they decide he's not going to be a part of the future. I would think it's the former, not the latter, but either way, he's auditioning more so for the Kings and just for his future in next contract. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. We're coming back tomorrow. Got a much bigger slate of games. Nice week here with a couple of nights with some pretty nice games as well. So best of luck until we see you next. Happy betting.